Cancer spells fear, suffering, often death. Cancer cells, enemies that lurk within. Very smart and very hostile. They know how to hide, pretend, mislead, hijack, weaken and kill. The world is reeling under the burden of cancer. But this is a story of hope, a story of scientists looking at cancer and its treatment with fresh eyes. Cancer hospitals teeming with patients. Each face mirrors the fear, helplessness, and uncertainty of the other. Nearly 15 lakh Indians get diagnosed with cancer each year, a majority in advanced stages. Cancer kills more than 750,000 Indians every year. Out of these, 1 lakh are women who succumb to cervical cancer. Cervical cancer is cancer of the cervix, the mouth of the uterus.
So we thought, why not we start with our cervical cancer, which is a leading cause of cancer-related death in India. हर 8 मिनट में हमारे देश में एक औरत जो है एक सर्वाइकल कैंसर से उनकी डेथ होती है.
Cervical cancer has been the bane of rural Indian women. Poor hygiene, compromised nutrition, repeated pregnancies, and very often prolonged HPV infections. Complicating the scenario is the fact that cancer is detected very late, in advanced stages.
80% ऑफ कैंसर्स इन जनरल हमारे कंट्री में लेट आते हैं, जिनमें सर्वाइकल कैंसर भी है. हमने पूरे वर्ल्ड को पोलियो मुक्त कर दिया, स्मॉल पॉक्स मुक्त कर दिया, तो सर्वाइकल कैंसर मुक्त क्यों नहीं कर सकते?
The war on cancer is on. The warriors, scientists, researchers, oncologists, molecular biologists, chemists, and above all, the patients themselves.
The scientist should always consult with the doctor to know what exactly is the problem. And similarly, the doctor should go to the scientist and say, look, I have a problem. That crosstalk is absolutely essential if our research is to grow, especially medical research.
Let's understand the enemy. Our body is amazing. Each one of us is trillions of cells working in harmony. Cells performing different tasks, but sharing the same genetic code. A very unique signature, like an identity card of the person. Inside each of us is an army of cells, the immune system, capable of fighting enemies. These soldier cells patrol the body. No invasion by the other is taken lightly. Pathogens, diseased cells devoured and destroyed. But cancer cells, smart and corrupt, born from the self, they evade the soldiers. Their license to grow unchecked is the identity card of the self. They trick the immune system, refusing to die.
Cancer cells are the most corrupt cells in our body. क्योंकि इनको ग्रो ज़्यादा करना है. ग्रो ज़्यादा करने का मतलब 2 से 4, 4 से 8, 8 से 16, 16 से 32. And then it starts hijacking the nutrition. It makes its own blood supply. अपनी खुद की सप्लाई लाइन, अपनी खुद की फूड चेन, सारा कुछ अपना खुद का बना लेते हैं और बॉडी में बन चुप करके बैठते हैं. जस्ट लाइक जैसे आपने कहा टेररिस्ट की तरह.
cancer takes the patient on a grim journey. Just 12.5% cancer cases are caught early in India. For the rest, the treatment is difficult and long drawn out.
I went to the clinics, I sat with the clinicians, the frustration I could see on the face of the doctors as well, and the frustration I could see on the face of the patients as well. That was a challenge for us actually.
The treatment for cancer has largely been surgery, chemotherapy and radiation. Potent weapons that help the patient live. But the treatment has limitations. Very often, healthy cells are damaged and the body weakened. Like the rest of the world, India too has been looking for newer weapons. Could cancer that is born inside the body not also be killed inside the body? Could the immune system not be taught to identify the terrorist?
So the challenge was, can we actually gear up our immune system to see these cells from a different perspective? कि क्यों ना हम patient के cells को ही सिखा दें कि हाँ ये cells है, ये पहचान पत्र है, आपने इनको जाके मारना है.
The search began, a search for something unique to cancer cells. A search supported by the Department of Biotechnology, Government of India. The search for the identity card for cancer cells. Dr. Suri's lab, a task force working with cancer cells. Inside this high-tech lab are cancer tissues from patients. Tissues stored with great care. Under sterile conditions, the tissue is brought to life. What you see under this very powerful microscope are cancer cells that have sprung to life.
There are A to Z proteins which normal cell is also making. There are A to Z proteins which cancer cell is also making. But normal cell is not making a protein C, but that was being expressed in the cancer cell, protein C.
Each one in Dr. Suri's lab was looking for some molecule exclusive to cancer cells. Cancer cells were grown, prodded, stained, examined over and over. The DNA of the cancer cells spliced, unraveled, broken down. Out-of-the-box thinking was the need of the hour. Without the state-of-art gene sequencing technology available in those days, Dr. Suri simply used subtraction.
We had a pool of signatures for cancer cells, and we had a pool of normal signature for the normal cells. We took the normal tissue, subtracted it with various cancerous cells. So one of these signatures that we found out was the SPAG9, which was expressed in the cancer cells.
What emerged was SPAG9, the identity card of cancer cells. A cancer cell protein, SPAG9, the results with hundreds of cancer tissues were conclusive, exciting. SPAG9 was present in abundance in the cancer cells, a protein missing in normal cells.
SPAG9 we could find in cervical cancer, breast cancer, ovarian cancer, in bladder cancer, in colon cancer, renal cell carcinoma. In सब cancers में ये SPAG9 का expression जो है 70 to 80%, 90% दिख रहा था.
India had presented to the world a molecule that could change the way cancer was being treated. The patent took long, but was finally granted. A feather in the cap of the NII team and the Department of Biotechnology.
India Science is an internet-based science TV channel initiated by the Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, implemented and managed by Vigyan Prasar. India Science on the URL www.indiascience.in is a bilingual channel with content in Hindi and English. It can be accessed on any internet-enabled device. This video platform is dedicated to science and technology knowledge dissemination with a strong commitment to spreading scientific awareness, especially with Indian perspectives, ethos and cultural context. The India Science mobile app can be downloaded from the Google Play Store and Apple Store.
Menacing enemies born in the body and growing within, destroying it like terrorists. With deeper understanding of cancer cells, the world turned its attention to the arsenal of weapons inside the body. Genes, molecules, and the immune system. Our next stop on the trail of cancer is Chennai. Like any other, Adyar Cancer Institute is bursting with patients. But unlike many others, this hospital is an active research center.
We were funded by DBT to develop this dendritic cell vaccines, and they also funded us to do the phase 1 study. When world over, I think there are very few groups which are working on that.
Dendritic cells are special immune cells. They can be seen as teacher cells that coach the fighter T cells in the body to recognize, target, and destroy the enemies. Scientists have devised ways to isolate them from the blood, boost them, and then attach special protein molecules or antigens to them. These dendritic cells can then be re-injected into the patient. But would this cause any harm or toxicity to the patient? Phase 1 of the dendritic cell study at Adyar Cancer Institute was a trial with 14 cervical cancer patients. Each of the women had advanced cancer that had spread beyond the cervix. Surgery was impossible, and the chances of cure slim.
The 3 arms, what Department of Biotechnology wanted us to do was one arm would receive only saline. This is the placebo. The second arm would receive dendritic cells which are mature but not primed, meaning that they have not been exposed to any specific antigens. The third arm is where mature dendritic cells are primed with the patient's own tumor proteins.
What happened for the third arm was this. Specific proteins were isolated from the patient's tumor cells. The dendritic cells of the same patient were exposed to these specific proteins. The primed dendritic cells were then re-injected into the patient. Would the cells harm the patients in any way? Could this treatment have any side effects? That was the big question. Phase 1 was a success. The dendritic cells were received without any toxicity or side effects to any of the patients. The patients were discharged with advice to continue chemotherapy. But 1 year after the study, the team was in for a surprise. One patient from the trial, who had very slim chances of survival, was back.
We thought we had lost her, and to our surprise, she was alive.
It was again a Saturday, I remember that day very well. And then when I came, I got a call from sir and he said, you know what, she's come back. And I was a little, you better go and get the blood sample from her.
It's worth a try because this has never been done in a... This patient is still alive more than 10 years. And this is the patient who actually received the proper dendritic cell vaccine because it had been primed with her own tumor protein.
She walks back in 2007 in the clinic and her lung lesion which was coming from the chest outside totally cleared. That was amazing moment when these trials were on, and it kick-started, you know, the whole program to take off with a lot of funding from Department of Biotechnology.
At NII, Dr. Suri's lab, armed with the SPAG-9 patent and spearheaded by the success of the trial of the dendritic cell vaccine, plunged deeper into research. The team primed the dendritic cells with SPAG-9 and added it to the aggressive cervical cancer cells.
और ये जो ब्राउन कलर इसका जो है, ये चॉकलेट, ये जो ब्राउन कलर, दिस इज स्पैग-9. स्पैग-9 हमने कैंसर सेल्स में से निकाला और अब उसी के अगेंस्ट, उसी पहचान पत्र वाले सेल्स को हम मारने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं.
What you see on the screen are aggressive cancer cells, growing, dividing. When SPAG-9 was knocked down, the result was amazing.
You knock down the SPAG-9 protein in the cancer cells. So in the lowest panel that I'm showing now is basically the cells within 6 hours, the 12 hours, you see the apoptotic bodies coming out of the cells. And then you see the holes within the cells and you see the cell death, you know.
The terrorist cells cannot deceive anymore. They lie exposed, their cover blown.
And we thought that if we can now get SPAG-9 on the platform, you remember, it's not something that you are doing within the cell in the tube. You're not something that you are going to a mice. You're talking of human patients.
India Science is an internet-based science TV channel initiated by the Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, implemented and managed by Vigyan Prasar. India Science on the URL www.indiascience.in is a bilingual channel with content in Hindi and English. It can be accessed on any internet-enabled device. This video platform is dedicated to science and technology knowledge dissemination with a strong commitment to spreading scientific awareness, especially with Indian perspectives, ethos and cultural context. The India Science mobile app can be downloaded from the Google Play Store and Apple Store.
We are not allowed in the cold and sterile room. Overalls cover each inch of her body. Only her eyes can be seen as she works in the cold room, cut off from all else. This is the clean room, a lab with air so clean that there are just 1,000 particles in it. Outside, there would be millions. Strict protocol is maintained. The scientist carefully works with the blood drawn from the trial patients. She is extracting the dendritic cells, multiplying them, a precise and specialized process. On this very specialized equipment are the mature dendritic cells. This is a personalized treatment using the immune cells of the patient.
See, this is a double-blind randomized study, meaning that neither the patient nor the treating physicians, the medical oncologist or the radiation oncologist, would know which arm the patient belongs to.
As in any trial, 1/3 will be the control group, the placebo. Another third will get dendritic cells primed with proteins from the patient's tumor, and the remaining 1/3 will receive the dendritic cells primed with SPAG9. Each patient in second and third arm will receive 10 doses of the dendritic cell vaccine.
We know that these patients have very short span of life when they are walking into the clinics. ह्यूमन पेशेंट यानी कि जिंदा औरत जिसके पास ला इलाज है, उसको एक ऑप्शन, एक किरण, एक कुछ दिखता है कि शायद मेरा इलाज हो जाएगा, और उस किरण को मैं भी देखता हूँ.
In the trial ward, the mood is somber. This is a larger, longer and a more detailed study with 54 cervical cancer patients. Each patient has been selected after multi-layers of testing. Each of them is expressing SPAG9. These women, diagnosed in very advanced stages, have not received any treatment earlier. Along with the trial vaccine, each one would receive chemotherapy and radiation therapy, the standard treatment available today. On the one hand, immune therapy to boost the immune system, and on the other, chemotherapy and radiation that suppress immunity. Each one has opted for dendritic cell vaccine trial. Mixed with despair is hope.
இந்த ட்ரீட்மெண்ட் வந்து எனக்கு நல்லா யூஸ்ஃபுல்லாக இருக்குது. எல்லாருக்குமே நிறைய பேருக்கு கிடைச்சா எல்லாருக்குமே அந்த சந்தோஷம்.
There is a guarded optimism. The trial patients appear to be doing well, but medical research is a long, long process. Multiple steps, regulations, safety norms, proof beyond doubt.
और जो डॉक्टर सूरी का जो ट्रायल कर रहे हैं अभी एडिया कैंसर सेंटर में, इट हैज़ गॉट फैंटास्टिक पोटेंशियल्स. क्लिनिकल ट्रायल के जो अर्ली रिजल्ट्स है वो काफ़ी एनकरेजिंग है.
At this point of time, I wouldn't say that our traditional approaches, being surgery, chemotherapy and radiotherapy, are going to be displaced by what we are trying to do. The immunotherapy is going to be one of the additional arms of treatment.
Immunotherapy, personalized, potent, targeted. The dendritic cell vaccine, primed with SPAG9, could change the way cancer will be treated in the future.
सब लोगों का एक ही एम है. हमारे जो इंडिया का कैंसर है, इंडिया का कैंसर, सर्वाइकल कैंसर है, लंग कैंसर, ब्रेस्ट कैंसर, इन सबको खत्म करना है.
But for now, cervical cancer continues to kill one woman every 8 minutes. In overcrowded hospitals, patients report in very advanced stages. Often, it's a losing battle. The key to bringing the death toll down lies in the hands of women themselves. Because cervical cancer can be caught early, even in its pre-cancerous stage.
Cervix cancer, to a significant extent, is a preventable cancer. And the reason why it is considered to be so is the fact that cervix cancer doesn't happen like a bolt from the blue.
So what are the telltale signs and symptoms of cervical cancer? Abnormal bleeding, smelly or stained discharge, or pain in the pelvic area should not be ignored. A visit to the gynecologist and a simple pap smear can make a huge difference. Earlier the diagnosis, better the outcome.
दूसरे कैंसर्स की तरह स्टेज 1, 2, 3 और 4 में होता है. In stage 1, the cure rate will be upwards of 90% or 95%. In stage 2, it will be about 70 to 80%. In stage 3 now, we would have cure rates of about 50% or 50 to 60%. All of us need to become more comfortable with our bodies. Denial में नहीं रहना कि जो है अगर कुछ सिम्टम हो रहा है, मेरे को प्रॉब्लम हो रही है तो क्या पता कैंसर निकल जाए तो टेस्ट ही ना कराऊं, ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए.
Cancer can be fought. Detect, deflect, and treat is the war cry.
One target focus strategy is the ultimate goal. It could be a game changer for making India ever in our own country.
As scientists deepen their research, innovate ways to train, reset, and activate the immune system, the world waits with bated breath. There is hope. Could this be the potent weapon, the Brahmastra, to kill the killer?